In my opinion, Stranger Things is a very unique drama web series. This is because it's set in the 1980s, which is a perfect time to choose because most of the viewers are in the age of 18 to 40. So most of them were brought up in the 80s, or their parents are brought up in the 80s, so their offspring will take some personality from their parents, so they are very familiar with 80s games, 80s fashion, 80s movies, 80s childhood, 80s technology, and the way people acted during the 80s. Kyle Dixon and Michael Steen discussed the soundtrack for Stranger Things, and they said, quote,
"No part of acclaimed miniseries Stranger Things activates the nostalgia circuits like its soundtrack of eerie, droning analog synths, an alien transmission from the VHS era to the Netflix generation."
That section was recorded by MisterAmazing. I asked him if he wanted to be in the video and he said yes. So yeah, you should go check him out. He's got really good content. He does breakdowns and other things as well. He's got like 100k. So yeah. Which proves how far the producers wanted to make it nostalgic for older viewers and make it interesting to a younger audience. I myself wasn't in fact born in the 1980s. My voice obviously shows that, but my parents were. So throughout my life, my parents have played famous 1980s music and 1980s movies, and showed me VHS tapes from when they were younger in the 1980s to the 1990s. Because to me it's interesting. The first time I saw the cover of Stranger Things, I knew it was going to be set in the 80s. Stranger Things is set in the year 1983, and around this time an amazing movie hit cinemas called Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. And the artist who made the cover of Star Wars covers made it so the movie name is at the bottom of the cover with black text and a white outline, and some of the main characters centered in the middle of the cover, with side characters maybe on the right side of the cover, and near the top will be Darth Vader, the main enemy, seen very dark and mysterious. Now let me show you the Stranger Things poster. At the bottom of the cover shows black text with a red outline showing that sense of fear and horror. The three main characters are presented slightly above the text. Elle is presented in the very middle. This is most likely because she is the only human being in the show known to have powers, that being telekinesis. What other franchise has humans with the power to move objects? So yeah, also the other characters who are important to the story are in the background of the cover, Will being at the top, and yes, he isn't an evil character, but he is an enigma in the season, as he is lost and can communicate from the upside down dimension. And the characters are drawn as well, so yeah, let me just show you the cover, and please show me how it doesn't look like a comic from the 80s, or doesn't look like Star Wars, or any other movie from the 80s. Also, if you still aren't convinced, let's look at the Force Awakens poster. It has a red tint on the left, symbolising the dark side with Kylo Ren, and on the right side it shows a blue tint, symbolising the Jedis. The Stranger Things cover has Joyce on the left side looking worried as her son has been kidnapped by the Demogorgon, with the Christmas lights symbolising the scenes when she uses the Christmas lights to communicate with Will in episode 2. And the alphabet can be seen referencing when she uses it in episode 3 of season 1, when she uses it to get Will to spell out words for her to communicate with each other despite him being in the upside down dimension. On the right side of the cover it has Chief Hopper with his walkie-talkie, a common use of communication in the 80s with the night sky and the moon, which symbolises how Chief Hopper is investigating the woods or looking for clues about Will's disappearance. And if you still don't believe me, then look at the way of the title, how it is presented. One word on top of another, Star Wars, Stranger Things. Okay, hopefully you believe me now. Because of these similarities, fans of Stranger Things and Star Wars have made mashups of the two amazing creations into one. Stranger Wars. Okay, that sounds a bit weird, but quite creative, I guess. All this creation where Will is Luke Skywalker, Mike is Han Solo, Dustin is Chewbacca for some reason, and Lucas is Lando, I believe. And Elle is Princess Leia, which is a good choice because Elle is imprisoned and used for human testing, and Princess Leia is seen in prison and used for information. The last thing about that is that every Star Wars movie begins with a glimpse at the beautiful stars, panning down to the area that the first scene is going to be located at. And so is every Stranger Things episode from season 1. Not just Star Wars, but Stranger Things also took inspiration from other popular 80s movies like The Goonies. The characters are very alike. They take bike rides, are very adventurous, and are very fearless towards something that could potentially end their lives. Chunk is very like Dustin. They are both seen eating a lot throughout the scenes, and they both have a lot of knowledge about what's right, but they are ignored. Mouth is Lucas, arguing with the team and making the wrong decisions. Mikey and Mike are the people who want to adventure, and have no fear. They both make the decisions of the groups they are in, and sometimes they go a little too far with their decisions, which is why Dustin and Chunk are present in the stories. They both limit what Mikey and Mike would do as they are too confident. Another movie Stranger Things took inspiration from was E.T. Elle and E.T. are very similar. They both lack knowledge about humanity, one of them being an alien and one of them being separated at birth for human testing. So to both of them, they are only just discovering humanity. They are both interested in the television in the scene, with powerful emotions, mainly being scared and interested, and they both hardly ever talk when shown. They also have very similar names. If you've watched Stranger Things like I have, you've probably watched the Season 2 trailer by now. Season 2 is due in a couple weeks, and it looks very good. So let's look at the nostalgia. So first off, the trailer shows Dragon's Lair, a famous arcade game from the year 1983, which is an amazing start to the trailer, because it shows everyone's forgotten about the upside down dimension, apart from Will. I mean, that must have scarred you for life being in that dimension. Well, as you can see here, he starts to have the visions of the monsters, which is foreshadowing the story like in Season 1. In Season 1, before everything goes down, the gang are playing Dungeons and Dragons, where, conveniently, Will is trapped from the Demogorgon in the game. I mean, the actual name for the monster in the season isn't actually Demogorgon, it's just what the group nicknamed the monster. So the Season 2 trailer has Michael Jackson's Thriller playing in the background, which is an amazing choice, because horror in the 80s wasn't how it is perceived today. Horror was classed as abnormal, zombies, skeletons, and monsters. Like in Stranger Things, there are no scary monsters in Stranger Things, it's just the jump scares and the build up, and the payoff towards a scene, and the abnormal events which make it look scary. The music may shut off on the scene, which leaves the viewer feeling confused and scared and questioning what is going to happen, and people are afraid of what they don't understand. Take Slender for example. Here is a picture of Slender. He isn't scary, he's just a man with a black body and a white face. But when you are playing the game Slender, the sounds, the build up to events is what make you scared. The setting too, it is dark and foggy and mysterious and in the woods. And there is a scary soundtrack, similar to a game like Five Nights at Freddy's. Here is an animatronic from that game. It's not scary, it's just an animatronic. But when they jump scare you, a screech is heard, whilst a face quickly approaches the screen, which creates an illusion in your mind that is scary. And plus, I watch Stranger Things more for its entertainment. Showing how characters change and react to events to me is entertaining. And you may find entertainment different, but this is what I enjoy. And I'm very excited for Season 2, and I hope you guys are as well. It comes out in a few weeks, so yeah, that'll probably be very good. So